Hi folks, welcome back to the Amazing Education Channel. The Amazing Education Channel that doesn't provide you with amazing video, but it provides you with the information you need to know. And so it's going to be the best information that you can find anywhere that's going to help your future and help survival on the planet for human beings. And I might point out that preserving other species is critical to this. The fact that we're destroying other species shows that we can't take care of ourselves. Today's topic is going to be overpopulation, and a lot of people say, oh, we don't have overpopulation. So especially successful people who are leaders, well, so you're sort of sitting on top. You might have the top income, top education, top IQ. You make decisions for other people and you're a leader. And so you've got the best of the best, while the rest of us suffer the overpopulation that you help to perpetuate. And actually, overpopulation is, you could say it's a continuous condition on the planet, just like competition. It's evolutionary forces are always taking place to help those, Darwin sort of showed us how those that are most successful at reproducing are the ones that continue on, and survival of the fittest. And so with the reproduction, you also, if you have the fittest, it means you have the less fit, and those that can't survive, that can't reproduce. And for them, because resources are limited on the in the universe, as far as we know, any location is going to have limited resources, that's for sure. Then there will always be competition, and there will always be those which can't get enough of the resources, and so it's overpopulated for them. And this goes for birds, it goes for plants. Plants, they compete for sunlight, believe it or not, and perhaps other nutrients as well. And so you can look at a lot of history as just constant overpopulation, and those who are doing the best, they won't see it. They don't see it, and they're going to want to continue to have too many children. And because of our intelligence, our creativity, and our ability to work and exploit the environment to our short-term benefit, we also have the ability to destroy the environment and make it unsustainable. And we're doing an incredible job of that right now. You might see beautiful vehicles and buildings, but another way to look at it is polluting the atmosphere, destroying the future climate and health of people on the planet, to the point where less land is livable land. And it could get so bad that, frankly, the outdoor environment is no longer suitable for life. And check out Blade Runner. It's an old movie, but sort of the idea, like, people just wanted to get off the planet. The climate was terrible, and it was just, they created the planet, turned the planet into a polluted pit, and with terrible weather. And it could even get worse than what they show. It frankly could just be too hot. But please watch the other videos. As I said, this channel is about the most useful information that you can get anywhere compared to all the other sources, and you have to pay attention to it. Comment, like, subscribe, and share the videos so that other people can survive in the future, basically. And you might hear some of this information in other places, but I'm a master educator. I've got an IQ over 120 most days, and so it's above average. And so unless you're smarter than me, you can really benefit from listening to this, and it's the most useful information for you and your future. So basically, we need to get 100% sustainable and walk and stop using so much energy. And we've way overpopulated the planet. We need to live in places where we don't need to heat the atmosphere, so we're not heating and cooling our houses and the places that we live. That's right, no air conditioning and no heating, because when we use these things and when we need technology, we add to the gases in the atmosphere and make it denser and thicker, and actually the top of the atmosphere is rising as we turn solids by burning solids like coal and wood and so on, and liquids and gases. When we burn them, we're adding to the atmosphere, and it's, we're just headed for a huge disaster. So we just have to stop this. And how can we live in places that we don't need heating and cooling? Well, we have way too many people, and we need to just drastically, peacefully reduce by having so few children. And yes, that will cause other problems. Yes, tax revenues will go down, and people will scream, there are not enough young people to take care of the old people. But you know what? Old people are the richest, most capable people. And if it's everyone dies versus some people that are older maybe don't have enough tax revenue, and so they're not as wealthy as now they are the wealthiest group in society, at least in the United States, so be it. Okay, so they're not going to be the wealthiest group in society, but we get to survive and future generations can survive if we have far fewer children. And luckily we're headed that way. Here's Tesla, the leader of the company right now, Elon Musk. It says we're having too few children, and so he has, I don't know, maybe 7 or 9 children, not sure how many, but those children don't have a father at home. It's a terrible situation. So don't follow, as I said, the leaders who are wealthiest, maybe healthiest, and so successful. They don't see the overpopulation problem because they're living lives of ultimate highest income and wealth and riches, and so they're not going to suffer, but it's others that suffer, living on the sidewalk and no longer able to survive hunting and gathering, definitely foraging and so on, and so it's a real disaster. But as I pointed out, you could say that history is just a continuous situation of overpopulation, and that's why people invent things and come up with new techniques and tools, starting with rocks and spears and then moving on to metals, just to survive. And there were, I would argue, always people that just barely scraped by and died young from disease and not enough nutrition and so on, and nasty policies and governments came up. You could say war, what is war about? It's desire for resources. Well, why do you need resources if you don't have too many people? So we're in a way we're in a fortunate situation now because, well, besides being able to just not be married or not have children by staying away, keeping your hands off of each other, we can also use other forms of birth control and population control to, now I would say, respect human rights. We should definitely do that, but on the other hand, have a system that really encourages a sustainable population. And by allowing people, even if you do get together and have sex but not have children. So we have that little difference from people in the past, and so maybe it's a good thing, but also it might have led to sort of great conflict in our society. Now fewer than half of children have their two natural parents at home, and it was very different in the past because you had to have virtue and stay true to just one person, because if you didn't, then you would be having children that weren't taken care of. And people have the idea now, oh, you can just sleep around and not have children, but there are many problems. Number one, birth control doesn't always work, but also people now, because they can sleep around, maybe it's causing breakups of marriage, and so then children don't have two natural parents at home, and then they're not being raised correctly, and they could be very sad and just not also not seeing how relationships work properly, because they don't see their mother and father having a relationship. You've got single parents, and then having perhaps boyfriends or other people come into the house, girlfriends and step parents, that it's just natural that the parent is not going to care for the child as well as they did in the past. And so it looks like, at least in the United States, the culture is just decimated, and then people don't make good decisions, and it's just sort of an unfriendly, unloving culture where people are not happy. And for example, in the Midwest of the United States, over half of females, I'll say women because I don't know about children, so over half of women in the Midwest United States are using antidepressant medication. They're that sad. It's really not a good situation. And I would argue that our education system has something to do with that. Government and the way we've organized our society is just not making people happy. The technology that we use makes us sit around. That's not good for health, and it makes people unhappy. And we also live in places where we need heating and cooling, so we're indoors and we're not out in the natural environment, and that makes people unhappy. So it's just as I said, we have way too many people on the planet. Maybe 1 billion people, according to the Union of Concerned Scientists. 1 billion people could be sustainable on the planet, and we're headed toward 8 billion right now. And so what can you do? Well, get away from technology, don't have children, and at most have one child, and stay married. Have a husband or wife and take care of the darn children. Okay, so if you think you can raise a child by yourself, it's just a disaster way to do it. It's just causing our society to just be a huge disaster. Okay, so we just have to reverse what we're doing. And you might say it's impossible, but countries in Europe, the way they're working, they are reducing their populations. And even the United States population would be going down if we didn't have people from other countries constantly coming over. And so now still around the world, populations are going up. We're causing more and more pollution, and to the point where the food is no longer healthy, and the air and the water causes disease. So it's just it's really a huge disaster. Everyone, please just wake up. And so you people that work in chemistry and factories and polluting industries, you realize everyone pollutes because we all buy products, we all throw away products. So we are all responsible. So reduce, reuse, recycle, and try to get to organic farming. And you might be ones whose sort of future families survive because you have land where you can grow food. And other people, when the wars come, because of the lack of fresh air, water, land, and resources, you know, other people might just die. And frankly, we need to all cooperate together internationally. If you have any chance to talk to people from other countries, tell them to please get involved in the peace movements where, you know, all countries work together. And basically we need to have greater control over leadership, where they are removed from leadership when they don't follow legal options. What they need to a leader really now should be given legal different options of what to do on a day-to-day basis, and they should just choose from those legal options that don't violate people's rights, which is, you know, far different from what we do right now. So yes, we need to make a change. So any of you working in government or whoever around the world in the future that are watching this video, you got to think about this. Try to understand human rights. I would recommend reading some Ayn Rand, R-A-N-D, who made human rights pretty clear, because a lot of people are confused about what they are, how they work. Basically, no one owns you. You know, you should have the freedom of action and thought, and not be forced to work for other people, and, you know, definitely not be forced to work for a collective, and because it just leads to violation of human rights. You know, if you don't own yourself, and, you know, and the product of your actions and thought, then how could anybody else claim that, you know, that it's theirs? You know, because if human beings, you know, it's basically just, I don't know, like the law of the jungle, and might makes right. And so therefore there would be no human rights whatsoever. And, you know, just whoever is strongest just takes from whoever, the other people. And it's just clearly, that's almost the definition of injustice. So we need to promote human rights, which we don't enough now, and improve things. And we can have a good future. We really can, but we need to take action. Right now, we're still headed down the wrong path with production. We need to get back to a more natural lifestyle and allow the survival of humans and other animals on the planet. Thank you very much. Okay, watch this video again and again until you understand. Thank you. Okay, goodbye.